welcome back. Now, our next guest was one of the first people in Ireland to get a conviction for coercive control after a 4-year campaign of abuse by her ex-partner, Garda Paul Moody. He received a 3.5-year sentence in 2022.
During that time, she also overcame an aggressive form of cancer whilst being a brand new mother to her little boy. Here to tell us her story, it is Nicola Hanney. Good morning, Nicola. It's lovely to have you here, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Because you've been doing so much. You know, you're on the Late Late the other night. You've got the book out. You did the documentary, which is a huge amount. But you got this conviction for coercive control. Can you tell us about your relationship with Garda Paul Moody, how it began?
At the start, I would say it was like a fairy tale. It's like, you know, when you meet somebody and, oh, you've been waiting on this person, the right person. You know, I was 36 and I was always a bit fussy. And I was always waiting for the right person to come along. And by God, was he Mr. Perfect. Everything every girl wants to hear. Such a gentleman, kind, romantic. Yeah, I thought I got the catch. Yeah. I definitely thought I'm glad I waited this long to meet Mr. Right, you know.
When did you first realise things weren't right then?
I think it's tiny little small things that go unnoticed. I was even remembering something this morning that I remember him saying to me that, God, everybody that loves me leaves me. And it should have been a red flag. Because I remember my gut saying, God, that's a strange thing to say. I just remember, and I actually felt sorry for him. God, thinking, how could somebody leave such a nice guy? Maybe they like the bad boy, you know, because he's so nice. I couldn't understand to. But it was, I did remember thinking, it's a little bit of a strange thing to say.
In this book, I've seen some of the messages that he sent you. I've seen some of the words. I've seen how he told you he'd want to smash to your face. He'd want to take you outside and smash your bleeping face in. These horrific words, and you're in this relationship. When did stuff like that start happening? Because it was obviously putting you down a little bit at the start. Did it become quite obvious at one stage?
No, it was definitely after I had the baby, it got a lot worse. As in, he definitely had a bit of control before then. Like, he definitely wasn't showing any signs of that much violence or aggressive towards me. It was more, I was seeing little signs of him being angry, but not towards me.
Because this all goes it's quite a drawn-out relationship. You were going out, you broke up, there was cancer involved in your life, you end up getting back together, but then you break up and you're pregnant, right? So it's got this mad timeline, isn't it?
Yeah.
You had cancer when you were going out with him?
No, I didn't have cancer when I was going out. So I had cancer previous to that, the year before.
Yes.
So I got better thinking, oh my God, I'm getting another opportunity of life to get all the things.
Yeah.
I never had been married. I never had a child. So I thought, oh my God, I'm going to get to... Like, all my sisters and like brothers had been married and stuff. So it was just something I was always thinking that would happen to me. I definitely was always wanting to get married. So, yeah, I went back out there thinking, you know, I'm going to go back out there and go on a date and find love.
And
you did. And he was wonderful at the start. You thought you were in this dream relationship, but all of a sudden things turned extremely nasty. Some of the messages that you received from absolutely frightening. The fact that he was a guard, did it stop you wanting to go and get help? Or what was the impact on him? Did he kind of flaunt his influence over that as being a guard?
Yeah, well, he definitely made me very aware that he had all the power and there was nothing I could do. So it's only when you're out of something like that you can see it for what it really is. But when you're in it, and even my family and friends around me, we did believe we were powerless because he was the law.
There's a way, a nefarious way he found out about you at the start was that he texted a friend of yours and he said that there was like a case against you. He wanted to find out things about you. And he's like, well, I'll try to get the lads to go easy on her. You know, tell me what else is going on. Tell me what's going on in her life. And you thought it was like, oh God, no, he found out that I had cancer. This is terrible. He's not going to like me. When before you were even going out, he was using his job against you. I'm assuming this is how he operated throughout life.
Obviously, that is who he is, where definitely, I think me being sick, it definitely knocks your confidence a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I always thought it was a good catch.
Yeah.
You know, I always did. My mother used to tell me, like they all tell us that. But, you know, I was single, I worked hard, I had my own nice apartment, I always liked to better myself. And I didn't have any children. But I always just thought, like, I will meet that nice guy because I do believe in love, where I don't know, he definitely was a master manipulator.
Because in the 9 months of your relationship, he always made you feel as though you had done it wrong. He was in the right and you were in the wrong. Was that it?
Yeah, like it's just little things. When you're used to being single as well, and you're used to not having to share your life too, apart from your friends and family. So when people are saying little things to you, it's like little tiny things. You're thinking, oh, am I being a little bit selfish here because I'm used to just being single? So it's nearly confusing. And then you think, oh, am I being a bit selfish? You know, things that you're thinking, oh God, for me to hurt someone's feelings in that way, it nearly hurt me thinking, oh God, I must have done something wrong. Yeah. And I wasn't even aware. They're just the smallest things. But it's like they're trying to confuse you. Yeah. They're trying to actually start getting the power over you as they can see we're both on in love. So they're nearly testing you in the little ways to see, you know, oh God, that worked. You know, because you are totally confused.
Yeah.
He took videos of himself abusing you. I mean, it's incredible. On the phone, there were 652 messages in a 14-hour period. That's one message every 90 seconds. Mocking your cancer, talking about your death, your terminal cancer diagnosis. I mean, whenever this came to light, the phone got handed into the guards, was it because your dad reached out to him for some help? He then thought that he claimed that your dad was blackmailing him, so handed his phone in. What was your reaction whenever a guard reached out to you?
Well, that wasn't even the case. Sorry, that wasn't even the case. It was more he was trying to blackmail me because I had papers in the court trying to get protection order against him. And he'd never paid a penny to the child also. So I had different stuff. He probably owed me 10 to 15,000 in maintenance. He was very mean. He acted very kind at the start, but he thought, why would I give you any money towards you? Then you'll be independent to be able more so to leave me. If I leave her with no money, he would send me cash, the amounts of money. He was renting out his rooms at the time as well. To other guards too, but that didn't matter. But I was living on nothing. Like, I was broke, I couldn't go to work, I was sick with a new baby. So in every way he could torture me to make my life hard, to go back to him, he done.
Because you'd been together, you broke up, you went to his therapist to try to explain why you were breaking up. He got angry with his therapist because the therapist couldn't make you stay. Then after you've broken up, you find out you're pregnant with lovely Cal, and your cancer came back in this short period of time. And during that whole time, your ex-partner, Paul Moody, who was a guard, he's abusing you throughout this whole time, trying to put control over you. You decided after the birth of your baby, Cal, to get better, right? Yeah. You went to Bangkok.
That's right. So obviously...
You still had cancer, like you had cancer while you were pregnant.
So I did maintain the cancer, which is a bit unbelievable even because it's estrogen fed and obviously from being pregnant to grow the baby. So that was a miracle because I'd done everything back to what I had previously done. So I went straight back to everything I knew. And I don't think they even thought I was going to survive the labour. Like, my whole family was sitting downstairs thinking, no, I did. I have faith. You know, I thought I definitely will. I just couldn't wait to meet my gorgeous baby. That just kept me going through the whole sickness. Yeah. So definitely, I think afterwards, like, I went home to court papers of him trying to take my child off me before I left the hospital. So...
Before you left the hospital from
the maternity hospital.
The maternity hospital.
After having my baby.
You had court papers trying to take your child off you.
Yeah, so he was ringing my family saying, I'm taking the child off her. But we didn't know the law. That's the thing. I don't think there's enough, like, some ads and stuff like that. Like, I don't think us as the public don't know the law. Like, it was terrifying at the time, thinking, is this true? He can do this? He can actually do this? Because I was sick.
But he also used his job against you. You ended up recovering from cancer. Thank the Lord.
Thank the Lord.
You came back from Bangkok. And then next thing, when he was trying to take your son, when you were trying to get maintenance payments off him, and the phone was taken from him by the Gardaí, and the Gardaí pulled you aside and said, this isn't right. Were you surprised by that when you were like, oh my God, the guards can be on my side? Because he is the guards.
Well, that took a little while. Obviously, he made a false allegation against my father, which, if anything, he just got involved in the conversation, as in, because I was with my father. He was ringing me about access, about my son, and I was with my dad, so probably knocked him off sometimes, you know, when you're around somebody else, you have to play nice. And he got involved in the conversation, and he asked me to send it to him because I said, I'm here trying to work something out with my dad. But a long story short, he ended up making out and lying, saying that. But it was the other way around. Like, I couldn't believe that he was even thinking, how could this be true? Because I have all the evidence on my phone that you're actually blackmailing me to pull all the paperwork out. Because I wanted to get a protection order. I was fighting hard. Yeah. And so I couldn't believe, as a guard or a detective, to think that it's obvious I have the evidence on the other side of the phone. To what made you believe? Now, I hadn't even, to be honest with you, at that stage, the investigation happened. Obviously, there was no evidence there. But throughout that, and I had the best team of guards because it was an inside job because of his complaint. Yeah. He got me the best team of guards from Harcourt Street that only investigate murders. So when they came to me, like, I am so lucky. Well, obviously, they seen it for themselves. Like, I didn't have to do anything or say anything because I hadn't even spoke to them because of COVID. I hadn't been in even for an interview.
He was found guilty of coercive control. He was jailed for 3.5 years. I love your victim says, I know that I can and have survived, Paul, even with cancer. So I want others to know they can too. You've written a book detailing your story as well. For people who are watching this morning, who might be in some horrific situation like that, what would be your message to them?
Find your voice. I think that's the first step. Because I think your mind gets so confused. You don't know what's right and wrong anymore. Like, it's the saddest bit. They do break your mind. My mind felt like broken glass. And I think if you can find someone you trust, like, and I think I'd love for people that's around somebody like a friend or their family, don't isolate them, don't give up. Because if you do, that's exactly what these perpetrators want. So just listen to them. You don't have to tell them what to do. Yeah. Just listen to them.
Yeah, and you were isolated as well. I suppose he's due to be released from prison in a few months. He was the first person convicted of coercive control in Ireland, and that was you that did that. How do you feel?
Like, it doesn't make me feel great. It's not nobody grows up as a little girl thinking this is going to be... I wanted a fairy tale. I never wanted... ever to be involved in such a situation. So it will never make me feel good, but it's what I had to do to have peace and a normal life.
And Cal's good?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you have to say hi because he was mad because he didn't...
Quickly,
absolutely. I want to say a big hello to Cal and tell him I love him so much and I will see you later and I will buy you a big chocolate cake.
Got a coffee cake coming up.
Nicola, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story. It's absolutely incredible. I'm sure people have read it in the papers over the last couple of days and on the telly as well. That's your new book. It is Stronger.
Thank you so much, Nicola, for coming in. We really do appreciate it. And if you've been affected by Nicola's story, you can find helplines on virginmediatelevision.ie/help.